I gotta say it, I love Gruul. I know it's basic magic, but the little Timmy in my brain just wants my big dumb creatures to have haste, big dumb burn to hit things, and big dumb ramp so I can cast big dumb spells at my big dumb opponents. So when Neon Dynasty Commander decks came around and Chisheros Upgrades Unleashed popped up as a Gruul deck that focused on counters, equipment, and enchantments, I was intrigued to say the least. And the more I played with it, the more I fell in love with this deck's playstyle. It can go wide, it can focus on upgrading one creature, it can even focus on commander damage, and at every stage the choices and lines split in front of me and diverged as I was dealt different hands and went up against different board states. This isn't just your basic big dumb Timmy Gruul deck, this is Gruul with a plan and an answer for everything. This deck made me a better commander player, and in return I wanted to make this deck better. So these are the 29 cards I've added over time to make Chishiro one of my favourite decks to pull out on Commander Night. First things first, I did the Nisa thing. I saw the token but no way to make it, I saw the 2 Mossfire Valleys, and I went straight to Google for answers. Whether or not Wizards ever actually intended for her to be in this deck, Nisa Voice of Zendikar is a great addition at 3 mana, and if you end up going wide, it can be an absolute powerhouse. My other favourite card that I've added is Kodama of the West Tree. If I see this bad boy in my opening hand, I'm keeping it. He's a win con by giving modified creatures trample and ramp on every single modified creature hit. I was a little surprised to see it jumped up to $25 US these days, but if you're gonna splash on one card, this is the one that I recommend. So let's take a look at the other creatures that I've added. Incubation Druid was an auto include for ramp and an easy extra bit of ramp if we get a counter on her, which seems incredibly unlikely. Goblin and Narcomancer makes his 10,258,152nd appearance in a Gruul deck to help us cast more spells more often. Helena and Helena and Renata are both going to help get counters on things easily, and honestly, the partners have won me more than a few games by giving large amount of counters and haste to a big boy late in the game. I've added Lizard Blades, Ogre Head Helm, and a Rabbit Battery as some cheap early creatures with the bonus of their reconfigurability. I love this. Not only do they count as equipment for Chishiro to see, they survive board wipes and can help us rebuild quickly afterwards. Speaking of surviving board wipes, Ochre Jelly is a constant threat in this deck, always growing, and the more you kill him, 2 more pop up in his place ready to grow again. Evolution Sage is going to help us get things going very quickly as long as we're hitting our land drops. Thundering Raiju can very quickly get out of hand by helping us modify creatures and ping everyone at the table, and Eternal Witness is very useful to bring back those threatening auras and equipments that our opponents wasted their removal on. Speaking of threatening equipments, I've added 3. Ember Cleave is a great game ender that can end up fairly cheap. Bloodforged Battle Axe can make sure we're modifying absolutely everything we get our hands on, and is probably my favourite turn 1 play in this deck. And finally, Batterskull does some amazing work, not only creating us a big creature with living weapon, but bouncing it back to our hand with Chishiro on the field means we're getting 2 creatures every time we cast. For real bounce back to hand shenanigans though, we've added the best of what auras have to offer. Draconic Destiny is going to give you +1/+1 flying and haste, Raincore gives +2/+0 and trample, and Reigns of Divine Steed will keep recurring as long as we've got more of Chishero's spirits to put on. Along with an Ancestral Mask for 1 big creature and a Spider Umbra for protection, enchantments are serving us very well indeed. For a bit of fun and protection, we've also added a Cauldron of Souls. Chishiro doesn't care what kind of counters are on our creatures, so we're going to tap the Cauldron to give all of our creatures persist, have them return to the battlefield with a neg1 counter on them, and at our next end step, Chishiro sees that, adds a 1/1 counter, they cancel out, and then we can do it all over again. A Jugan Defends the Temple gives us a bit of ramp and a creature, some counters, and then finally flips over into a counter generator and a very likely 7/7 with trample. Great value card, and in my opinion, some awesome art. We've added some protection with Inspiring Call, and its card draw is very welcome alongside Return of the Wild Speaker, which has ended quite a few games with its +3/+3. Card drawing green is never unappreciated. We round things out by upgrading with whatever land package you can afford, but I definitely recommend you add a Khan's Bastion for its Proliferate if you're going wide, and Kessig Wolf Run for its Trample if you're going tall or focusing on commander damage. So that's my list for Chishiro the Shattered Blade. I love the options that this deck gives me for playstyle, and hopefully you do too. Speaking of options, as I'm writing this, the Modern Horizon 3 spoilers are just coming out, and the modified keyword has shown up a few times, so I might have to make a few changes if I can get past this little guy's face. The deck list, upgrade, and cut package are all in the description down below, and let me know what you've done to help Chishiro out, or what decks you might want to see me talk about in the future. Maybe even what decks you might want to see us play on our gameplay streams. Until then, my name is Tom from Nerds of the West. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.